Hello?
Hello, Neo. Do you know who this is?
Keanu Reeves is a Canadian actor, director, producer, rock musician, businessman, and just an amazing person. There are legends about his shyness and kind heart. His charm and bright appearance drive women of all ages crazy. During his acting career, he starred in more than 100 films, among which were real masterpieces. This video is about the path to stardom of one of the brightest men of our time. Keanu Reeves, how Hollywood's most wholesome guy lives and how he spends his millions. Keanu Charles Reeves was born in Beirut, Lebanon on September 2, 1964, in the family of an English woman, Patricia Bond, and an American, Samuel Reeves, who had a wild cocktail of Portuguese, Chinese, and Hawaiian blood. By the way, Keanu got his unusual name in tribute to the origin of his dad. Translated from Hawaiian, it means cool mountain wind. At the time of the meeting in 1960, Patricia was working as a dancer and Sam was doing odd jobs, including some shady ones. The man didn't have a decent education. He even received a school certificate in prison while serving time for drug trafficking. Over time, he managed to get a job as a geologist. The young family's life was hectic, with constant moving, and 2 years after the birth of their son, they found themselves in Sydney, Australia. Their youngest daughter, Kim, was born here in 1966. Soon, the father of the family left Patricia and the children. Keanu was so frustrated and resentful that even as he grew older, he did not resume contact with his dad, cutting off all his attempts at bonding. After Australia, the Reeves family moved first to New York, where Patricia became a successful costume designer before settling in Toronto, Canada. She married 3 more times, gave birth to a daughter, Karina Miller, from her third husband, but all her marriages inevitably collapsed. Studying was not easy for Keanu, as the boy was diagnosed with dyslexia, which they tried to fight with the help of speech therapists and psychologists. But the disorder is called genius disease for a reason. Reeves read a lot of books, including all of Proust, thanks to which he cultivated perseverance, diligence, and trained his memory close to a phenomenal level. Besides, he was an excellent chess player, and as a child, beat some adults earning $1 for a win. Keanu still loves to read newspapers with chess puzzles on the pages. And what Canadian boy doesn't play backyard hockey? Reeves was noticed by a local coach and invited to one of the schools. In his childhood team, he was a goalkeeper, but according to his teammates, he didn't have the physique necessary for this role and compensated for this with amazing agility and jumping ability, for which he received the nickname The Wall. By the way, he is still in the International Hockey Player Database and enjoys playing for himself and rooting for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Apart from sports, Keanu attended drama club. After an injury, Keanu had to give up on a great future in hockey, so he concentrated on his second hobby. At the age of 9, he first tried acting. He played in the musical comedy Damn Yankees, and at the age of 15, he appeared on stage as the Shakespeare's Mercutio. At the age of 17, the guy dropped out of school and left home for his girlfriend named Pat. He never received the certificate. Keanu had to pay for his free life by doing any part-time job, including mowing lawns in other people's lawns and cooking spaghetti in Italian cafes. In 1983, the young man appeared in a Coca-Cola commercial as a cyclist. Reeves still remembers that shoot with warmth and laughter, because they had to shoot in winter, pretending that they were languishing from the heat. After that, he appeared in many more Nave commercials, including advertising for Canon cameras and Japanese whiskey Suntory. At the same time, Keanu took part in small TV series and short films, and his first notable role was in the film Youngblood, where he played the goalkeeper of a hockey team and received a fee of $3,000. After the film was released in 1986, Keanu, with the help of his first stepfather, Broadway director Paul Aaron, received an American green card and moved to Los Angeles. There, he got an agent, and on his advice, used his pseudonym for the first time, because he considered the name Keanu too exotic. Therefore, in some films, he appeared as Norman Reeves and Chuck Spadina in honor of one of the streets in Toronto. The end of the 80s was the time for a good start in the big movie for Keanu. In 1988, he appeared in such films as Dangerous Liaisons, The Night Before, Permanent Record, and The Prince of Pennsylvania. Then he played in Parenthood, Life Underwater, and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and then in the TV series of the same name and in its sequel. After the movies I Love You to Death, Tune In Tomorrow, My Own Private Idaho, the premiere of the action movie Point Break became a real breakthrough. Patrick Swayze was his partner on the set, but Keanu was so good on his role that he got the MTV Movie Award for Most Desirable Male.
You mad? Yeah, I'm mad! Good and mad! Yeah! What do you want to do about it? Feels good, doesn't it? Like you're still alive, right? Yeah! Well, since you're still alive, and you're not in the box just yet, why don't you tell me this theory of yours and we'll go get these guys?
The role in Bram Stoker's Dracula, which was released in 1992, was also a great success. Interestingly enough, Reeves and Winona Ryder's characters were married by a real Romanian priest, and now it is their favorite subject for jokes to call themselves legally husband and wife. In 1993, even Cowgirls Get the Blues, Much Ado About Nothing, and the colorful philosophical drama Little Buddha were released on the screens. For the main role, Keanu had to lose a lot of weight, sitting on a strict diet of oranges and water. The reaction of the audience and critics was polarized. Some were delighted, while others couldn't figure out who the film was made for and criticized the actor's performance. A short but apt review of the film came from the Dalai Lama himself, who offered modest praise but remarked that Buddha could not be small, pointing to the film's title.
I've never seen it. I've not even seen my own city. I must see the world, Yashodhara, with my own eyes.
The very next year, the actor broke into the world of A-list celebrities after his role in the movie Point Break. The director of the action movie Speed couldn't imagine anyone else for this role aside from Keanu. The film was a huge success, and his partner was Sandra Bullock, with whom Keanu is still good friends. Although it was rumored that there was a fleeting romance between the performers of the main roles, Reeves received a fee of $1 million for this role.
Shot me. I can't believe it. They're giving you a medal for shooting me, you little prick.
Harry, you told me to.
Member of the Los Angeles Police Department.
When the film was released, work on Johnny Mnemonic was actually finished. However, the Sony officials, seeing the success of Speed, demanded a reshoot of many of the scenes in order to add fights and shootings. Initially, the movie was supposed to be an atmospheric fantasy film with noir and cyberpunk vibes.
Must have been pretty good at memorizing, huh?
Implant, wet wired. I had to dump a chunk of long-term memory.
You had to dump a chunk of what?
My childhood.
Your childhood.
The actor's next works were A Walk in the Clouds, Chain Reaction, Feeling Minnesota, and The Last Time I Committed Suicide. The pearl of Keanu's filmography is rightfully considered the mystical thriller The Devil's Advocate, released in 1997.
What are you?
Oh! I have so many names.
Say,
Call me Dad.
In order to participate in the filming, he had to refuse the offer of a role in the sequel of Speed, as well as part of his fee, which amounted to $8 million, to ensure Al Pacino's participation in the project. 2 years later, the world was shocked by the release of the cult sci-fi thriller The Matrix. The preparation for the shooting was tremendous. The actors trained for several months, and just before the start of practice, Keanu injured his cervical vertebrae, which further inconvenienced him. He had to wear a special bandage for several days, and he had to make another sacrifice for the scene of Neo's awakening in the capsule. The actor lost almost 15 pounds and shaved his whole body, including eyebrows.
wow, that sounds like a really good deal. But I think I got a better one. How about I give you the finger, and you give me my phone call?
In the early 2000s, after The Matrix, the public expected something extraordinary from the actor, but what followed was a series of quite average films. Among them are The Replacement with a fee of $12.5 million, Hardball, The Gift, and The Watcher, in which Keanu didn't even want to participate. However, his insidious agent forged his signature on the contract, and Reeves reasoned that it was easier to act in the film than to butt heads with the traitor in court. In 2001, the melodrama Sweet November was released, which was not a huge hit, but it was very important for Keanu, who had suffered a personal tragedy and really wanted to vent his feelings on the screen.
What do you do, by the way?
I'm in advertising.
Advertising. So you enjoy?
People tend to enjoy what they're really good at.
This was almost the only time when Keanu himself was chasing the director, persuading him to give him the lead role. The fact is that in 1998, at one of the parties, he met his sister's friend Jennifer Syme. The passion blossomed, and Reeves, who had convinced everyone that he was a hardened bachelor, bonded with the girl with all his soul. They even decided to become parents, but a week before the birth, the baby girl, whom they decided to name Ava Archer, suffered a cardiac arrest. The actor withdrew into himself, and his lover decided to fight the grief with alcohol. That's what eventually led to her death. In April 2001, Syme died in a car accident while returning from a drunken party. After these tragic events, the actor could not dare to have a serious relationship for a long time, limiting himself to short-term romances or friendships with women. After he survived this series of misfortunes, Keanu took a new job. In 2003, the drama Something's Gotta Give was released, as well as 2 sequels of The Matrix, At Once Reloaded and Revolutions, which followed the story of the war between people and machines.
If you tell me we'll make it, I'll believe you.
We'll make it. We have to.
The films grossed a very decent figure at the box office, exceeding $1 billion, and Keanu received 15% of that in addition to his $30 million fee for both movies. However, he took a risk during production by turning down $38 million to have the money invested in creating costumes and special effects. As time has shown, this investment has more than paid off. After that, Keanu had a forced break from work because his sister Kim was diagnosed with advanced leukemia. The girl received this devastating diagnosis back in 1993, but for many years, she managed to keep the disease under control. In order to help her, Reeves stopped all activities and went to the Swiss city of Montreux, where he stayed with his sister constantly. Fortunately, the disease was defeated, and now Keanu is an active participant in charity events aimed at fighting cancer. Release of the superhero action movie Constantine, based on the mystical comic book Hellblazer, took place only 2 years later.
This is Constantine. John Constantine. Asshole.
The film didn't collect awards and a lot of money, pleasing only loyal fans of Keanu. However, the movie has a chance for revenge. The Warner Bros. Film Company announced the production of a sequel in September 2022. In the same period, the movies Thumbsucker, Ellie Parker, A Scanner Darkly, The Lake House, and Street Kings were released. The 2008 movie The Day the Earth Stood Still became special for Keanu because, unlike other works, no one competed with him in casting. The producer of the film, Erwin Stoff, couldn't imagine anyone else in the role of the alien Klaatu. The filming turned out to be very exciting for the actor. He improvised a lot and even added a few lines to the script. Perhaps this practice served as a starting point for his future directorial career. In 2013, he directed the film of Man of Tai Chi, where he also starred. At the same time, Reeves kept starring in movies by other directors. He has appeared in such films as The Private Lives of Pippa Lee, Henry's Crime, Generation and 47 Ronin. The next cinematic masterpiece in which Keanu starred was loved by both the public and critics. For the role of a retired assassin, he even received a rare positive Golden Raspberry for restoring the actor's reputation, Razzie Redeemer Award. The action movie John Wick served as the birth of a media franchise, which included films and television series, comics, soundtracks, and computer games. The 4th movie is about to be released, and the 5th one has been announced.
Noise complaint.
Noise complaint. You, working again?
No, just sorting some stuff out.
In the following years, the actor starred in the films Knock Knock, The Whole Truth, Exposed, The Neon Demon, The Bad Batch, Replicas to the Bone, Siberia, Destination Wedding, Always Be My Maybe, Between Two Ferns, the movie, and Bill and Ted Face the Music. There is also quite a unique film in Keanu's filmography. This is a crime comedy, Keanu, which tells a story about the adventures of 2 friends saving their kitten. The name and voice of the kitten are Reeves, and by the way, this is not the only time when the actor voiced characters. For example, in Toy Story 4, he voiced Duke Kaboom. The year 2021 saw the release of the Wachowski sisters movie, The Matrix Resurrections.
I felt either I'm having a mental breakdown again, or I'm living inside a computer-generated reality that has imprisoned me. Again.
And a year earlier, to the delight of gamers, Cyberpunk 2077 was released. It was a video game created by Polish developers based on a tabletop game published in 1988. Keanu played one of the main characters in the game and appeared in a fast-paced promo video.
Test of a person's true value? Death. Facing it, staring it down. You still got a chance to be somebody.
Keanu is one of the richest actors in Hollywood. His fortune is estimated at $380 million, while the ratio of his one-time fee to the total amount of his earnings is a historical record that no one has been able to break since 2003. Reeves is happy to spend his money on gifts, so almost the entire crew of the first Matrix was lucky enough to fall under his good graces. After filming ended, Keanu reportedly gave away $75 million, making costume and special effects artists millionaires overnight. After filming Reloaded, Keanu gave each of the stuntmen a Harley. For quite a while, he didn't even care about his living conditions and considered it normal to just rent an apartment or a hotel room. Keanu got a permanent home only in 2003, but he chose a very impressive villa he built back in 1988 in the Hollywood Hills in Los Angeles, costing nearly $5 million. The property is spread over an area of an acre and consists of a house made in constructivist style, a garage, a pond with decorative fish, and a long swimming pool. Keanu is known to create the interiors of his home with his own hands. He chose the finishing materials, selected the furniture, textiles, and decorations himself. At the same time, Reeves didn't build any fences, hedges, and he even used to keep his doors open. As for the cars, Keanu is an avid Porsche fan. He has a beautiful Carrera 4S in his garage. As a child, according to rumors, Keanu couldn't choose between a career as a nuclear physicist and a car racer. It is safe to say that he has fully realized his passion for speed and roaring engines. And if Porsche is just a passion for him, motorcycles can be called his true love. When he was 22, a pretty girl driving a Kawasaki Enduro caught his eye. Keanu borrowed a bike from her and asked her to teach him how to ride it. Since then, there have been many bikes in his life, including Kawasaki, Suzuki, and Harley. In 2011, all this resulted in the creation of his own brand. The Arch Motorcycle Custom Bike Company is run by just two people, Keanu Reeves and mechanic Gard Hollinger. All in all, the actor can easily travel by public transport as well. He can often be seen among subway passengers, and some even witnessed his gentlemanly behavior. Keanu also dresses quite simply and only as he feels comfortable. These are mostly stretched jeans, t-shirts, dark-colored jackets, and heavy boots. He might even show up to a prestigious award in his old sneakers. However, in 2019, Reeves became the face of the St. Laurent fashion house, thanks to which fans were able to appreciate the coolest style of their favorite actor. Stunning black and white photos in which Keanu is dressed in strict trousers, shirts with a tie, and daring leather jackets were as much anticipated as his next movies. By his own admission, Reeves has now entered his most enjoyable age. He finally had a life partner with whom he began to appear in public in 2019. Keanu and the artist Alexandra Grant were friends for a long time. She even helped the actor to publish his book called Ode to Happiness. So far, the couple doesn't comment on a possible wedding, but the available photos are full of mutual affection. Keanu admits that he has become quite wise, calm, and emotionally fulfilled. He wakes up in the morning with ease and does only what he wants to do. He can go for a run or play his beloved basketball, or he can stay home and cook something delicious with his friends all day and drink Bordeaux. He may have a nice glass of whiskey with a big ice cube when he's not occupied with work. He prefers moderation in food, making sure not to overeat. His diet includes chicken, vegetables, and rice, but sometimes Keanu enjoys eating steak or pizza. Potato chips and Coke are not forbidden either. Keanu's signature dish is Belgian waffles with butter and maple syrup. The actor calls this combination of proper diet and the occasional forbidden food the recipe of his youth. Sometimes his reservedness and private nature is perceived by people as a manifestation of some kind of emotional suffering. Thus, on June 15, 2010, the photo of Keanu taken by a photographer from one of the tabloids spread around the world. It shows Reeves sitting on a bench with a sandwich, embodying universal melancholy and hopelessness. The photo made a lot of noise. Many people were seriously worried that there was something wrong with the celebrity. This reaction shocked the actor. It turns out he was just thinking to himself and was hungry. However, this didn't stop witty fans from creating a couple hundred memes in which thoughtful Reeves sits in the company of a variety of characters, from Stalin and Churchill to kittens and skyscraper builders in New York. They even decided to establish the Cheer Up Keanu Day, which, thanks to one publication, is now celebrated every June 15. The actor himself was happy to insert an illustration with a reference to this day in his comic book, Berserker. By the way, the comic book, where the main character is based on Keanu himself, after the release in 2021, was so popular with readers that the company Netflix is making an anime series and a feature film based on it. Perhaps one day we will see Keanu Reeves on the Broadway stage, because he has a dream of playing in a musical. Why not? After all, he is not only an actor, but also a musician. In the 90s, he played bass guitar in the band Dogstar, and then he was a member of the grunge band Becky. Keanu is a star of incredible magnitude, a talented and bright actor, but in contrast to many of his colleagues, he is not arrogant. He is relatable and perceived by everyone as a guy next door. When he gets tired, he likes to drink hot tea with lemon and honey, and when he needs to stop and think, he sits down on a bench in the park and stares into the distance, not noticing anything around him. Unfortunately, life sometimes presents unpleasant surprises and trials that we all have to go through. At such moments, he says, "Don't let fear get a hold of you. Be afraid, but don't give up." Do you agree with Keanu?
A bit. But let's say it was my real grave. What would you write? Here lies Johnny Silverhand.
Richard Gere, how the ladies' man lives and where he spends his millions. Richard Tiffany Gere was born on August 31st, 1949 in a large American family of housewife Doris Ann and insurance agent Homer George Gere. Besides Richard, who was born the second, the Geres raised 5 children. The parents were educated but simple people and managed to give their children a happy childhood in the suburbs of New York. They tried to provide a balanced upbringing. There was room to communicate with nature because the family lived in a small rural town for creativity and sports. The future actor studied guitar with might and main, shown in the school drama club, and did gymnastics. After receiving a sports scholarship after graduation, he went to the University of Massachusetts to study philosophy and directing. At the same time, Gere dreamed of becoming a professional musician and saw himself as a world-famous trumpeter. These crazy dreams eventually prevented him from getting a degree. At first, he chased an opportunity to become a musician and then became interested in theater and dropped out of school. Finally settling in New York, Richard tried his hand at theatrical auditions, and one day he was lucky. In 1975, after a series of minor characters, he got the main role in the play The Killer's Head. On stage, he was blindfolded all the time, playing a murderer sentenced to death, which played into the hands of the young actor. At the time, he was extremely reserved and often got nervous, which hindered his skill. In this case, however, the audience heard only his voice, which literally mesmerized the crowd. The young actor was so talented that he was noticed by film producers. First, Gere appeared in such films as Report to the Commissioner, Looking for Mr. Goodbar, Days of Heaven, Blood Brothers, and Yanks. And then he got really lucky. The Hollywood handsome John Travolta refused the main role in the movie American Gigolo, and the job went to Gere with a fee of $35,000. Thanks to the role, he instantly gained a whole army of female fans. Not the least role in this was played by the fact that the actor had to act in some scenes completely naked. The image of the heartbreaker and the role of the lover boy was stuck to him, which over time began to weigh on him. 2 years later, Richard was offered the lead role, and again, ironically, the one that Travolta refused. The film, An Officer and a Gentleman, was a great success and won 2 Emmy Academy Awards
and was also recognized as one of the greatest romantic movies in history, according to the American Film Institute.
Should've warned you scuzzy female types though about the putrid dudes. Those are the ones that say they're wearing a rubber, but there's really a little hole bitten in the bottom of it.
Then, Richard's filmography was replenished with the movies The Honorary Consul and Breathless. And in 1984, he starred in the gangster movie The Cotton Club, directed by Francis Ford Coppola, in which the actor performed several parts on the trumpet, reliving his youth.
What is this, a kidnapping?
Would you like that? Because I think I'm up to it. You do move me. I don't know why, but you do move me. In unusual places.
Surprisingly, with a brilliant cast, a venerable director, and a whole galaxy of prestigious awards, the film failed at the box office. This did not prevent Richard from getting $2 million for the role. Next came the historical film King David, the drama Power, the action movie Miles from Home, the thrillers No Mercy with a fee of $1.5 million, and Internal Affairs. The real fame came to Gere when he approached the 40-year milestone. Richard didn't want to play at all in Pretty Woman, which was originally conceived as a drama. He didn't like the script, which was changed beyond recognition. He was tired of the roles that parasitized his heartthrob image, but his agent persuaded him to go to a meeting with the actress chosen for the main role, and Julia Roberts convinced him to agree. Experts still have trouble explaining the magic ingredient that made this trivial story a huge hit.
Did you really say $100 an hour?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you don't have any prior engagements, I'd be very pleased if you would accompany me into the hotel.
With $14 million invested in production, worldwide box office was $463 million. Perhaps the reason is the chemistry that arose on the set between the performers of the main roles, because, for the sake of a happy ending, the screenwriters had to rewrite the finale of the picture. Initially, Edward did not even consider climbing the stairs to Vivian like a prince from her sweet dreams. In the original story, the rich man pushed the girl out of the car, throwing money at her. That's how the movie was supposed to end.
Gere himself dislikes Pretty Woman for many reasons and emphasizes this in interviews.
So he was very pleased with the offer of the master of Japanese cinematography, Akira Kurosawa, who gave him a small role in his anti-war film Rhapsody in August. On the set, Richard had to speak Japanese, which he did not know. He had to memorize the lines by heart. The director was very worried that he would not be able to pay the Hollywood star for the work, but Gere assured him that he would play for free. As a result, the director paid him a symbolic amount and also paid for flight tickets for Gere and even offered to buy tickets for his friends if they wanted to visit Japan. Such a friend was Cindy Crawford, who had been his wife for a year. One of the most beautiful couples of that time was formed back in 1988, and in 1991, the official wedding took place in Las Vegas. The ceremony was very modest. It was attended by only 4 witnesses, and the rings exchanged by the newlyweds were made out of chewing candy wrappers. Many consider the wedding in Las Vegas a bad sign, and perhaps there is some truth in that, since the couple divorced in 1995.
Gere and Crawford chose not to make a tragedy or a performance out of this event.
It went quickly and quietly, after which everyone went their own way.
Gere's path at that time led him to Tibet.
He met the Dalai Lama and almost became a monk, but the actor had so much life energy that he didn't fit into the novice's secluded routine. Since then, he sympathized with Tibet with all his heart. Richard spoke passionately about the plight of the region wherever he could. At one of his political gatherings, he went completely wild, promising to fight the Chinese alone if Tibet wouldn't get protection. The speech caused a murmur in the room, and only one woman found the courage to turn the situation into a joke. She turned out to be American actress Carrie Lowell, the famous Bond girl from the movie License to Kill. Very soon, Lowell became Mr. Gere's second wife. In 2000, the couple had a son, whom they named Homer after his grandfather's.
Meanwhile, Richard Gere's film career was on the rise.
He managed to appear in such films as Final Analysis, in which he also acted as a producer and the band played on, Mr. Jones, First Night, Red Corner, and Primal Fear. For shooting in the detective movie Summersby and the drama Intersection, the actor received $5 and $7 million, respectively. And in the action movie The Jackal, he co-starred with Bruce Willis. However, the guys didn't get along very well, and they swore never to act together again.
Give over, Preston. Who are you really looking for?
A pro. Calls himself the Jackal.
Oh, that fella. That mystery man.
By the way, Gere could have played the main role in the movie Die Hard, which he refused for some reason.
Meanwhile, the creators of Pretty Woman decided to make money by resurrecting the duet
of Richard Gere and Julia Roberts in the romantic movie Runaway Bride.
The film was a success. It earned $300 million at the box office and brought Gere a fee of $13 million. Immediately after this movie, the actor flashed his dramatic talent in the role of a rich man who finds himself powerless in the face of his lover's illness and death. We are talking about the film Autumn in New York, where he co-starred with Winona Ryder.
You've got the hiccups.
Are you kidding? I would go with you in a heartbeat. You're fabulous.
Yeah?
But, uh-oh. Oh, dear.
It must be me.
Then the depressive mystical thriller The Mothman Prophecies and the drama Unfaithful were released, which together brought $30 million to the actor's bank account.
Another work of Gere in the early thousands was the melodrama Dr. T and the Woman About a Gynecologist.
To better prepare for the role, Richard took the opportunity when his wife gave birth to their son. He studied the work of the maternity ward.
In 2002, the name of Richard Gere again rumbled around the world,
and the occasion was the release of the musical film Chicago.
I could be an awfully good sport.
Good, you got that out of your system. Now listen, you mean just one thing to me. You call me when you got $5,000.
the luxurious crime musical masterpiece astounded not only the audience but also the critics, who nominated it for 13 Oscars. BAFTA, Golden Globe, and Grammy Awards could not ignore the movie either. They literally showered the creators and actors of the film with awards. Gere won the Golden Globe for Best Actor in a Comedy or Musical. And by the way, the role of the creative lawyer could have gone to actor Hugh Jackman, who refused it, which he later regretted very much. Interestingly enough, the first film adaptation of Chicago was supposed to be made back in the 70s with Frank Sinatra, Liza Minnelli, and Goldie Hawn in the lead roles. In 2004, a remake of the Japanese romantic comedy Shall We Dance was released, where the actor rocked the dance floor with Jennifer Lopez and Susan Sarandon, with whom he was in a romantic relationship in the early 80s.
Beverly, dance with me?
I don't know how.
Yeah, you do.
No,
Yeah, you've been dancing with me for 19 years.
The actor devoted the following years to the films that did not receive much praise: Bee Season, The Hoax, The Flock, I'm Not There, The Hunting Party, and Nights in Rodanthe. The next takeoff happened only in 2009 when the actor starred in the incredibly touching, kind, and sad film Hachi, A Dog's Tale.
All right, come here. Okay, it's all right. Let's see you try to go, all right? Go. Stay. Go home. Go on.
While sentimental viewers around the world were crying their eyes out, its worldwide box office totaled more than 50 million. After the biographical movie Amelia, the crime thrillers Brooklyn's Finest, and The Double, as well as a documentary about one of the teachers of Buddhism, Brilliant Moon, the film Arbitrage was released, in which Gere again co-starred with Susan Sarandon.
Her teacher was Mr. James. Mr. James said, world events all revolve around 5 things. M-O-N-E-Y.
This is freshman econ.
That was a 5th grade econ.
Richard Gere was nominated for a Golden Globe for his performance. In 2013, the marriage of Gere and Carrie Lowell broke up when the woman found out about her husband's affair with a TV presenter of Indian origin. The separation this time was a difficult ordeal for Richard. His wife attacked him with accusations and draconian financial claims. But soon, the man met a new love. By that time, the actor had 2 unsuccessful marriages and a whole series of relationships of varying degree of seriousness. Uma Thurman, Kim Basinger, Priscilla Presley, Barbara Streisand, Diana Ross, and a dozen other Hollywood beauties dated him in different years. But it seems that now Gere has stopped in his search. At one of the film festivals, he met Alejandra Siva, a journalist and the daughter of a former manager of the Real Madrid football club. The 34-year age difference did not bother the mature Silver Fox at all. That's how he was nicknamed in Hollywood for his refusal to dye his gorgeous gray hair. And after 3 years of relationships, he led his beloved one down the aisle. A modest celebration took place in April 2018 in New York and gathered only a circle of the couple's closest friends. A year later, they had a son together, Alexander, and in 2020, another heir was born, whose name was not disclosed. Now, the actor can afford to stop thinking about money and choose roles exclusively to his liking. Recently, his filmography more and more often includes roles in the auteur and low-budget movies. Among them are the film anthology Movie 43, the dramas Time Out of Mind, The Benefactor, Norman, The Moderate Rise, and Tragic Fall of a New York Fixer, and Three Christs, the melodrama The Second Best Exotic Marigold Hotel, the thriller The Dinner, and the miniseries Mother, Father, Son. In January 2023, a comedy starring the actor, Maybe I Do, was released. Richard Gere's fortune is estimated at $120 million, which makes him one of the richest actors in the industry. He had advertising contracts with the Italian car brand Lancia, the Visa payment system, the brand of carbonated drinks Orangina, and others. He invested money in a small luxury hotel, Bedford Post Inn, which is located in the suburbs of New York. Guests can meditate, do yoga, and enjoy delicious dishes made from organic produce from the hotel's own farm. Gere himself and his family live in a spacious mansion located just an hour's drive from Manhattan, which he spent $10 million to renovate in 2020. The total area of the residential parts is more than 8,600 square feet, which consists of 7 comfortable bedrooms, living rooms, and a wine cellar. The couple also chose to buy a vacant plot with a swimming pool in the yard next door to expand their land to 34 acres. Experts estimate this transaction at $700,000. Until 2020, Richard owned another residence in Pound Ridge for almost 35 years. He bought it for $1.5 million and managed to sell it for $24 million. charming, spacious colonial-style villa with an area of more than 10,000 square feet is complemented by a swimming pool and access to a pond. This deal was not the only one that Gere managed to profit from. He bought a luxury home in Southampton for only $6.5 million in 2006 and sold it for $36 million. Richard Gere also has urban real estate. Since 2016, he has owned an apartment in New York in the Gramercy Park area, worth a little more than $2 million. The property consists of 2 bedrooms and a living room, which the actor renovated and furnished according to his taste. It is reported that his friend, actor, and TV presenter Jimmy Fallon persuaded him to make this purchase. Until 2011, Gere had another apartment which he owned for more than 20 years and sold for $2.6 million. Now, the spacious and bright apartments can be rented by anyone for $20,000 a month. Richard Gere is a committed Buddhist and a life lover. He desperately fights against injustice and stands for the restoration of peace. In addition to fighting for the freedom of Tibet, because of which he was banned from entering China for life, he is engaged in environmental, health, and human rights issues, supporting many humanitarian international campaigns. He is also outraged by current events, even auctioned off one of his cars to donate the proceeds to charity funds to help victims of the war in Ukraine. A 1999 Jaguar XK8 collector's convertible was sold for $31,000. This gorgeous car has a 5-speed automatic transmission and an engine capacity of 4 liters. At the time of sale, the mileage was 31,000. In everyday life, the actor was seen driving an Audi RS6. By his age, Richard Gere has received everything one could dream of: 3 sons, a beloved and loving wife, fame, and wealth. It seems that the saying, "a good deed is never lost," finds direct confirmation in his life path. His motto is, stop treating yourself like an afterthought. Eat delicious food, walk in the sunshine, jump in the ocean, say the truth like you're carrying in your heart like hidden treasure. Be silly, be kind, be weird. There's no time for anything else. Do you agree with Silver Fox's statement?
Thank you. One more question, please.
If you liked the video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything interesting.